You know, it's just a perfect wind out here today. It's just a perfect walleye chop in my mind. And, you know, give seminars across the country for walleye fishing, and if I were to ask a room full of 300 people, what's your favorite way to catch a fish? What do you think the answer would be?
It'd be a jig.
Vertical
It is
jig.
for
Everybody
me.
in the room would raise their hand. And,
Yeah.
and I tell you what, you never get tired of that. It's just one of the funnest ways to catch a fish. And you know, you look at catching fish on jigs, you know, the structure to catch fish on jigs, vertically fishing. This here is about the most perfect place that I've ever seen. We're on Kabetogama Lake here up in northern Minnesota. Guide Tim Snyder, wealth of information, wealth of knowledge in this body of water, in this area, in, you know, just classic walleye fishing. Beautiful place, one of the funnest techniques that's ever been invented in a lake full of walleyes. It doesn't get any better than this, does it?
You know, the beauty about Voyageurs National Park, Lake Kabetogama nestled in it, it's blessed with many, many different islands, which obviously offers structure, points, humps, different rock piles and things that you can go and find. And I'll tell you, this is a jig fisherman's dream, this type of fishing right here.
We're just driving around following the contours until we mark fish. And like right here, there's some fish. You know, I just hit a waypoint. I like to make just kind of a preliminary swoop around the hump just to see what I'm dealing with, and then you just go back and fish your waypoints. And if you don't have any waypoints, if you don't mark any fish, you just keep on moving. I think that's probably the thing that some fishermen struggle with, is they go to a hump and they're going to fish it whether there's fish there or not. And trust your electronics. If it's deeper than 20 feet, if they're down there, you're going to see them.
There we go.
There.
There's a
Oh,
good one.
that is a beautiful sight right there. Wow.
It's good fish right there, Jason.
Yeah, I'll say. I'll say. That's why we're here. Oh, wow. That is great.
Loosen my drag a little bit on
Yeah.
this. Yeah. That's a good sound, isn't it?
It is. It is. Yeah, there's some nice fish in this lake. This is a nice fish here.
This is a nice big walleye, a lot of pull on her.
Yep, I'm just drifting along here. I've got the trolling motor off, so we'll just drift with the wind here and
Yeah.
get a glimpse of her, if nothing else.
Oh, that's a good walleye right there, Jason. That's a good one.
All right. Oh, yeah, look at there. Big walleye.
Nice color when you see that, huh,
Oh,
Jason?
wow. Look at that. That is a walleye right there. Nice, straight fish, Tim. Great fish.
Yeah, that's a,
I'll even unhook it here for you. You were just jigging that, just snapping that jig?
you know, a couple quick snaps, and then we're just dragging over that shelf, and when I was dragging it, she couldn't stand it, and she hit it right then.
Snap, snap, drag over the deep rocks, and
She just couldn't stand it.
oh yeah, you know, you mark fish, and that's what's down there is big walleyes just like that. You know, when we first got out here this morning, Tim made an excellent point, I thought, Tim, when you talked about so many times with people, they buy a map chip, they have a GPS, they see all the structure, and they start fishing structure. And you made a comment that don't fish the structure, fish the fish. Why don't you go into detail about that? Because I think that's something that a lot of anglers miss.
Well, you know, a lot of people who come to our lake and want to fish, they want to know how you become successful fishing these reefs and these humps. And I tell them a lot of times it's easy to find the hump whenever you're fishing structure with your GPS equipment, but it's not always easy to catch the fish. So that when you get to these humps, this hump here that we're fishing right now is maybe an acre or 2 acres big, but there's only fish on a small portion of it. So just coming up here, throwing your bait in the water and saying I'm fishing the reef isn't good enough. Take the time to cover that reef, crisscross that reef over and over again until you've actually located the school of fish that you want to fish. Then with your GPS equipment, you can locate that, set right on that, throw your buoy out, whatever you want to do to mark that land spot and fish that. You can spend lots of time on this reef fishing and not catch a fish. I'd rather spend a few minutes right over top of them and have more success.
Yeah, so use your electronics to find the fish, use your boat to hover on top of the fish, and just try to stay on top of that. Even if it's a 2, 3, 4 fish on the screen at once, focus on fishing fish versus fishing structure.
Exactly, exactly. There's one.
All right.
Good one, Jason.
All right. Well, that's way up on top. 15 feet of water.
Yeah, that's where they're going to be, I think. There's a good one right there.
Good. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good.
They're again coming right over that top of that the rim there.
Yep.
Another nice walleye. Oh, there's some color.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Look
that
at there.
chick, yeah.
This is beautiful. I just love the color on these fish up here. They're just gorgeous.
Big, stout, healthy fish.
Oh, aren't they? Aren't they? Oh.
He's not done.
Oh. No. No, you don't tell these fish what to do. There. Great fish.
He's in charge.
I'll let you handle your fish, your honor. Great job, Tim. I'm gonna keep pulling us up there here with the trolling motor.
You know, Jason, they're coming over that hump there, right on the very tip of that. It was the shallowest point of the reef. We come right over that. And that's where
you
they
find
were.
that a lot where on the you mark fish deep and they're not the biters, and you come up on the top, and that's where your aggressive fish are.
Yep. I always, when I go to the reefs, the first thing I do is look at the very highest point. That's where your feeders are going to be. That's where they're hungry. That's where they're eating. The deeper fish sometimes will bite, but more than not, they will be they'll be eaters right on top, the very highest point.
There's a fish.
There you go.
There we go.
How's that feel?
Good. This is a good fish, Tim.
Okay, I'll get the net.
All right. Gotta wear her out.
And right down there where she belongs, huh?
Yeah. It's hard to peel them off the bottom. Don't you just love that?
That's a good feeling, isn't it?
It is. It is.
You just hold that rod and all they do is pull.
Yep, absolutely. Get a glimpse of her.
Yeah, a little glimpse.
There's a lot of nice fish in here, though, isn't there?
This lake is full of nice, heavy, big female walleyes. Just, you know, in the spring of the year, you'll find them around the shorelines a lot. And here we are in mid-July, and they've made their way out to these shells.
Oh yeah, there's a nice walleye.
Nice, nice fish, Jason.
Great walleye, huh?
Yeah.
This type of structure fishing, you know, these spots are small. You can imagine, you know, some of these islands are only maybe the size of an average 1 to 2 car garage. I mean, that's kind of how they come up. It's just like a, you know, come up out of 40 to 50 feet of water. They come up into 15 feet, 20 feet, but they're just small. I mean, just like volcanoes out here in the middle of this basin. But, you know, rocks, you know, a lot of big rocks. It's just a matter of going out and trying to find those shelves, trying to find what those fish are holding on. And these fish will just be stacked in one little area where you'll just mark 1, 2, 3, 4 more fish. And they're not going to be all over these humps, as Tim alluded to earlier, but one thing I believe really think about when you're fishing this type of stuff is watch the angle of your line. When you're scooting along, trying to get back on a waypoint or trying to go over to mark fish, you might speed up where your line's going to be at an angle and your jig's going to be behind the boat a little bit more. But once you start to mark fish, what we've been doing today here is just hovering, where you get that line just straight up and down, just get as vertical as you can. If you are right on top of the fish and you're just stalled out and sitting over the top of that mark, don't have your line out to where your jig's somewhere behind the boat, even if you have to reel up and drop back down. But get that line vertical when you mark fish, and change the angle of that line from when you're looking for fish, scooting around, covering the water, to actually trying to catch a fish.
You know, I'm kind of slapping the slack out and just hitting the jig and then holding it. It seems like that's when that tick, tick, tick is, or a bite.
Let's see when you're slapping.
See here, this is slack. I hit it right there, and right there I felt the jig. Right there I felt the jig, and then I hold it. That's when I'm feeling that bite. I'm not really feeling it on the jig. I'm feeling it when I'm dragging it at that point in time. There's a fish going right there. There's one.
That's a good fish, huh?
Yeah, that's a better fish.
All right.
Pull a little drag.
Yeah, coming with the net.
Don't you just love that head shake?
I do.
That old rod's doubled over and they're pulling out.
I just love how that monofilament just stretches a little bit, where you just get that mushiness. Where
there's just so much give in it.
Yeah, you think you're snagged on the bottom until that rod tip starts to bounce a little. Yeah, this is a great fish.
Yeah, this is a two-hander.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, she doesn't want to come up. This here fish is a little shy of the boat.
Yep. Yeah, that fish was in about 26, 27 feet of water.
Yeah. We've just come off that edge, come up to that, out of that deep water. Whoa. Come off that deep water up there.
One thing we've seen a lot today too is, there'll be parts of these sunken reefs where there'll be some really big rock.
Oh,
you can
look
see
at
the
that.
rock. These fish are just right on the side of those big boulders.
Yeah.
Look at that, isn't that a great fish? Look at the boat turned here. Great walleye.
That's a good one right there, Jason.
That is a
Oh, man.
Probably the biggest key that I've seen today, Tim, is just keeping that line vertical. When you mark a fish, get right over the top of it and fish straight up and down.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, great walleye.
Yeah, that's nice.
That is a beauty. I'll get a pliers for you.
Get my line out of her mouth here.
There we go. Yep, show that girl off. Great fish. Great fish.
They sure pull, don't they?
They sure do. That's why we're here.
That's why we keep coming back. You know, when I'm jig fishing out here, I really like monofilament line. It's a nice light line. I use it clear on this particular body of water. I use 6-pound test. It's really nice for structure fishing. There's enough stretch in that line where when you set that hook on a vertical jig, you can really bury that jig right in the top of their mouth. But the monofilament seems to work the best. You can easily cut it off, retie it. Works a little bit better than braided line, for my taste anyway, out here on these humps and reefs. Here's a fish. Oh, Jason.
Good fish. Good fish.
There you go.
All right. Awesome.
Look at here.
Boy, we just went over a couple of big marks right in there.
Well, I know one of those big marks is the end of my
It's
rod.
on the end of your line.
Yes,
huh?
it is.
Oh, you're having a great day.
It's right at the end of this jig. And it wants no part of us.
Got a lot of big fish today, you know
I
what?
want to lighten the drag up just a little bit.
Yeah, look at this. You get it almost all the way up to where you can see it, and that fish goes all the way back down to the bottom.
Yeah, making those big runs.
Yeah.
The quality of the fish we've been catching today, outstanding.
Yeah, people come from a long ways. Oh yeah, look at there. Another big walleye. Yeah. There, look at that golden color on that fish.
Aren't they beautiful?
They are beautiful. I imagine these fish are moving up and down on the structure all the time and just trying to find the fish that are eating. So we're marking a lot of fish that aren't biting. And then sometimes, we just getting these waves where maybe windows would be a better way to describe it, where the fish they're just starting to eat, and that's what we're seeing here.
Yep.
It's kind of just a classic big fish pattern though,
Yeah.
Deep structure coming off the basin, deep rocks. Works in a lot of places, not just here, but I mean, especially here. This is a jig fisherman's dream, is just the amount of rock piles that are out here. From our base camp in Devils Lake, North Dakota, we travel the whole Midwest looking for the best fishing bites. If you'd like real-time fish reports, find out what bodies of water that we're fishing, just to find the general patterns and techniques that we're using, give us a like on Facebook and Hit the Road with Jason Mitchell Outdoors.
You know, when we're fishing with a light wind, I try to go to the lightest tackle I can. I'm using 1/4 ounce jigs here today. We're fishing in anywhere between 25 and 15, 16 feet of water. So I like to go to a 1/4 ounce jig. If I have a light wind, I'll even go to an 8. The only time that I'll get a little heavier on a 3/8 is if I'm in a little deeper water or if our wind picks up a little bit more. The reason I go with that 3/8 and that little heavier wind is because I want to stay vertical, and the more weight I have, the more vertical I'm going to be. So on a chop today, that's just a perfect little walleye chop. We're in a 20-foot range of water. I really like using a 1/4 ounce weight at that time.
Oh, there's a good fish, Tim.
Got one?
Yeah, got one.
Feel good?
Yeah, it does. It does. They don't like to leave that rock that they're living on, do they?
No, we're invading their home and...
Oh, man. Yeah, they are so strong.
Nice. Yeah, oh, there it is. Look at that, Jason.
Oh, yeah. There.
Oh, look at that.
Great walleye.
Yes.
Great fish. Yeah, isn't that a beautiful fish? Such a beautiful place too, and that's the thing. There's a lot of places to catch walleyes. No doubt you drive by a lot of walleyes to get here, but once you get here, you know why. You know, this whole area, this whole Voyageurs National Forest is just a spectacular area. I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, it's just, you feel like you've been on vacation when you come back from this place.
Yeah, it's quite a destination. Minnesota's best right here.
Great place. Yeah, you know, we've been just kind of hovering and almost scooting where we might go maybe 0.7 miles an hour if we don't really feel like we're in the zone. But as soon as we start marking fish again, we've been crawling back to 0.4, 0.5 miles an hour. But it seems like today these fish want it really slow, but I imagine that's not always the case, huh, Tim?
No, and Jason, I've noticed that sometimes when we've been marking these fish, we go over them really slow. We may be doing 0.7, 0.8, and we just go right over them. They have no interest in it. We come back over that same group of fish, 0.5, 0.6, and boom, they start snapping it.
Don't be afraid to change your speed. I mean, a lot of times people will change their color, they'll change their bait, they'll change their presentation, they'll change a lot of things, but changing up how fast you come through those fish is probably the biggest thing that you have control that can make a big difference.
There he is.
Another big walleye.
Yeah. Boy, they're just
strong.
I know they are pullers. No quitting these fish.
Only got a half-hour show.
I know it. I better start putting the muscle to her.
I tell you what, I'd like to thank you for taking us out today, Tim. It's always a pleasure. Always a wealth of information. Such a beautiful area.
Well, I enjoyed you coming out.
Definitely a great, oh yeah, another beautiful walleye. Great destination. Fishery. All right. Come here. Yeah, just dark gold. You know, it's just like the Canadian Shield, except for it's black top all the way and no border to cross. Right?
That's why, good stuff right there.
Yeah, that's why people come. Great.